This is Alan, a lost kid, reckless, living his life carelessly, and honestly not giving a damn about the world. One day, his dad summons him. He tells him, "You were born in the prestigious Westlift family, lived with us in luxury for more than 15 years, and you're still stuck at level 1. Not just that, you're the first heir of the family, and during the awakening ceremony, you didn't even get a single ability. What a disgrace. You're not just a nobody, no. Even a nobody is better than you. Get lost." And just like that, Alan gets kicked out of the family and the mansion. But of course, our boy doesn't care at all. Actually, he's kind of relieved, finally free from that family so he can live his life. Why? Because Alan used to be a legendary hero in another world. Everyone feared him and his power. After dying in one of the battles, he reincarnated into this world. Alan decides that this time, he'll live his life the way he wants. He just wants a normal, peaceful life where people don't fear him. But while he's walking around, he notices something happening in the distance. 2 girls are being attacked by magical hounds. Every time they slash a dog, it regenerates instantly. Alan realizes the pink-haired girl is none other than Princess Liz Otastella. Her guard is fighting the beasts but gets injured. That's when Alan decides to step in to save the girl who once believed in him when everyone else called him a useless failure. He unleashes his power in a blink. He's standing right in front of them. Using his magic eye, he spots the beast's cores, realizing that to defeat them, he must shatter those cores. He casts a massive spell, 1,000 swords, and wipes them out in literal seconds. Brew, this is the failure they were talking about? If he tripped over you, he'd wreck your whole squad. Liz thanks him, but she's upset about what happened to Beatrice. Alan uses healing magic and saves her. Then he explains he was kicked out of his house. The girls ask him to join them since they're heading toward the Borderlands, the exact place Alan was planning to go. Alan asks why she'd leave the kingdom. Liz explains that during her magic rituals, she received a prophecy. She has to go to the Borderlands to prevent a catastrophe. Alan repairs their carriage and they set off, but on the road they notice something strange. Since Alan joined them, not a single monster showed up. He realizes something's weird about the area. When they arrive at the village, they don't see anyone around. But walking a bit further, they find all the villagers gathered at the chief's house. He's throwing out a girl. And that girl turns out to be the hero of courage, Akira. In every generation, one hero is born with the ability of courage. This time, it's Akira. She explains she found a child escaping from the village because they wanted to sacrifice her to a dragon. Shocked, she saved the girl and hid her safely. Alan figures it out. The dragon protects the village in exchange for sacrifices. That's why no monsters roam the area. Akira decides to take down the dragon to save the kid, and the gang joins her. She insists on going first, telling Alan, "You're not normal. You're insanely strong beyond human. I don't even understand your power yet, but I know one thing. If you step in, you'll finish the dragon in seconds and I'll have no role left in this anime." Akira enters the dragon's lair. Immediately, the beast attacks, but she dodges. He mocks her, saying, "Did you really come here to play? What, you think you can fight me while this child is here?" He reveals he kidnapped the little girl on purpose. "You think she escaped me? No, I let her go. I wanted to see what would happen if a sacrifice ran away. I've lived a long life, and the only thing that entertains me is watching sacrifices suffer in front of me. And now, you came here to amuse me. Perfect." Furious, Akira unleashes her strongest attack. But the dragon just laughs. It doesn't even scratch him. That's it? That's the max power of the hero? Pathetic. He slams her down with his tail, leaving her unable to move. She thinks to herself, "I knew the power gap was big, but not this huge." The dragon prepares to finish her off when suddenly, Alan appears, slicing off his wing. The beast is stunned. He charges at Alan, but Alan slashes again, wounding him. Shocked, the dragon roars. How could a mere human injure him, the mightiest creature on Earth? Desperate, the dragon plays dirty. He takes the girls hostage. But Alan doesn't even flinch. Using his insane speed, he blitzes forward. The dragon tries to kill the girls first, but Alan unleashes his ultimate move and slays the dragon. The little girl is freed, saved from death and the villagers' cruelty. Everyone breathes in relief. Alan is overjoyed that he could help. Finally, they can live peacefully. But nah, my friend, don't relax yet. This was just warm-up. The anime hasn't even started. After the fight with the dragon, Alan crashes from exhaustion. When he wakes up, he finds his sword broken, so he goes to talk to Liz. Liz apologizes for not telling him earlier that her ability is healing. It's an extremely rare power, so rare that the entire world would try to use her if they knew. But Alan doesn't get upset at all. He just smiles and says, "Doesn't matter. You're still the same innocent, kind Liz I know." Then comes the time for the heroine Akira to part ways with them. She says she'll take the little girl with her. There's no way she can abandon her or send her back to that cruel fate. She apologizes to Alan for his broken sword, but Alan tells her it's not her fault. That's when she offers him her holy sword, saying someone like him deserves it way more than she does. And dear viewer, let me explain this. Holy Sword isn't just any blade. It's a legendary weapon that only heroes can wield. After entrusting them with her blessing, Akira leaves with the child, beginning her own journey. Meanwhile, back in the Westlift family mansion, a shady man informs Alan's father and brother that the Red Dragon King has fallen at the hands of the heroine. He knows this because the borderlands where the dragon lived are under their control, meaning they not only knew about the dragon, but were also using it. Alan's father, whose name you've probably already forgotten, don't worry, admits their original plan was to lure the heroine there and let the dragon kill her. He starts doubting himself. Maybe they overestimated the dragon's strength or underestimated the heroine's power. But what he doesn't know is that the true reason was none other than his own son, the one he disowned. The shady guy then adds, the heroine wasn't alone, the saint was with her. The king grows uneasy, realizing that Liz must not be underestimated either. Brett, Alan's brother, suggests sending a pack of hellhounds to finish them off. But their father refuses after losing the dragon. Their supply of monsters is already low. They can't waste resources. Brett insists, so what? We just let them walk away like that. But the king reminds him, as long as they remain in the borderlands, they're still within our territory. We'll finish them eventually. The spy then gets asked about the elf. He replies, I'll deliver her head soon. Back to Alan, Liz, and Beatrice in the carriage. Liz mentions she has a friend in a nearby village, an elf blacksmith, incredibly skilled, who can forge Alan a new sword. Wait, elf? Could this be the same elf Alan's father was talking about? They finally reach the border town, a lively hub filled with adventurers, almost like an inn that turned into a city. They head to the blacksmith's home, but Beatrice notices something strange. Weird. I always hear the sound of her hammer from here. Why is it silent now? They push the door open and find Noel the elf blacksmith collapsed on the ground. Shock! Did someone attack her? But Beatrice laughs it off. Relax, you forgot? That's just how she is. Turns out, the girl was just asleep. Liz heals her, and Alan asks why Noel ends up like this. Liz explains, whenever Noel starts forging, she forgets to eat, drink, or sleep until the work is done. Finally, Noel wakes up and greets them. Liz? Beatrice? And who's this guy? Alan introduces himself as Liz's bodyguard. Noel immediately cuts them off. You want me to make him a sword, right? Nope, I'm busy. Get lost. Wow. She rejected them before they even asked. She insists she has too many orders, but Alan shows her his broken sword. Using her ability, Swordsmith's Sight, she analyzes the blade. She realizes it was pushed to its absolute limit, wielded by someone powerful who knew exactly what he was doing. Impressed, she agrees to forge him a new sword, not just any sword, but a legendary blade, a weapon surpassing even the holy swords. Alan accepts, and the moment he does, Noel kicks them out so she can start working. As they leave, a mysterious girl watching them from the trees reports back to the same shady guy. He's shocked, since Westlift never told him about this second guardian. They decide to be cautious. Meanwhile, Alan goes to sell his loot at the Adventurers Guild. Since he got kicked out of his family, he's broke as hell, basically one step away from busking with a guitar. The girls tell him they'll go shopping while he handles the sale. At the guild, Alan hands a bag full of dragon scales to the receptionist. She's stunned by the amount and takes it straight to the manager. As she leaves, two strangers approach Alan. The man introduces himself as Horace and the girl with him as Malene. They claim to be travelers who enjoy hearing adventurers' tales. They ask Alan about the scales. Did he really get them alone or with help? Alan casually admits the heroine was there too, but when the receptionist returns, Horace and Malene vanish. Outside, Horace tells Malene he wanted to measure Alan's power, but he didn't expect him to be so weak, still level 1. But Malene isn't convinced. Back with our crew, they return to Noel's place. And of course, she's lying on the floor again, but this time, she's finished. She presents Alan with the best sword she's ever forged. She insists they test it. On the way, Alan asks why she chose this profession, especially since blacksmithing is usually for dwarves. Noel tells him her story. She doesn't know where she was born or who her parents are. All she knows is that on a stormy night, a dwarf named Vanessa found her and raised her. Before she can continue, Horace shows up again to greet Alan. Noel recognizes him, instantly looks like there's history there. Horace greets them politely, then leaves, telling Malene to follow them and figure out the connection. Back to Alan and Noel, they begin testing the new sword on monsters. Noel is stunned by Alan's skill. He wields it perfectly without leaving a single scratch on the blade. She suggests they need stronger enemies to truly test it. But Alan notices something odd: no monsters in the forest. That's when he senses it, a terrifying, hidden beast. He dispels the concealment magic, revealing a powerful monster lying dormant. The moment Noel sees it, she freezes, her trauma resurfacing. She screams to Alan, kill it now! But Alan refuses to get close to him. He tells her, I got no reason to kill it. I don't even know what your past with that monster is, but I ain't planning to take revenge for you either. Noel grabs the sword from his hand and was about to strike, but Alan stops her and warns, don't. That monster's on a high level. It's surrounded by a barrier that blocks any strike below a certain power. He explains that only holy swords can break through that barrier. Noel argues, okay then, problem solved. This sword's stronger than holy swords. But Alan replies, this sword won't even scratch it, and you know that. You know you made a sword that's not even close to holy sword level, right, Noel? Then he adds, but hey, if you want to attack it with that sword, I ain't gonna stop you. But I'm not saving you either. And he leaves her there. Later that night, Alan reports to Liz and Beatrice about what they saw in the forest. They're shocked such a thing even exists there. Alan tells them he suspects someone brought it here on purpose because it was covered in strange energy. But for now, the only thing they can do is stay alert. He asks if they've finished their mission. Liz explains they came here because 3 months ago her military commander got assassinated. The killer even took the commander's head and no clues were left behind. That's why they suspect a demon might be involved. Alan is surprised. It's rare for demons to meddle in stuff like this, which means someone must have made a deal with them and used their power. Liz agrees and says they're here to chase down leads. That's when Alan mentions he met a strange man, referring to Horse. Meanwhile, back at the monster side, Malene is standing there in shock. How the hell did Alan break the monster's seal so easily? What kind of power does he have? To her, he should have been just a weak opponent. She returns to Horse. He asks if she saw anything new. She says no, suspicious. Then he tells her, we need to finish this mission quick. No point dragging it out. Go take care of the saint and the elf. She freezes. He smirks. What? Surprised? Don't tell me the mighty Amazon warrior's scared of blood? Come on, sweetheart. He grabs her. A collar appears around her neck, and he whispers, the only thing I want to hear from you is yes. Against her will, she agrees. Back to Noelle. She's working nonstop on Alan's sword, remembering his words that her craft was good, but still not enough. He said it'd need a few tweaks to become a blade that could slay the monster in one strike. Since then, she's been pouring all her energy into it until she passes out from exhaustion. But why does she hate that monster so much? Flashback. When she was a kid, the monster and Horse attacked Vancia. Horse told Vancia, you're a talented blacksmith, too strong for your own good. That'll cause us problems. We can't let the number of powerful swords rival the holy ones, so you gotta die here. Vancia tried to fight the monster, but its barrier activated and it killed her right in front of little Noelle. The monster then turned to Noelle, ready to finish her too, when suddenly lightning struck it. It was Akira. She hit it with lightning again, but it didn't affect it. She rushed with her sword and actually wounded the monster, but when she noticed Noelle, Horse took the chance to retreat. After Akira saved her, Noelle ran to Vancia's side, crying. Akira tried to comfort her, but Noelle shouted, "How? How did your sword hurt it when Vancia's blade wasn't even enough to scratch it? She worked day and night on that sword, put her whole heart in it, and it couldn't even leave a mark." Back to present. Noelle wakes up, feels lighter, and assumes Liz helped her, but it was Alan. She immediately returns to forging, and at last she finishes the blade. She heads to the forest, determined to use it against the monster. She finds it asleep. Just as she's about to stab it, the monster wakes up and strikes her. Horse appears. "Finally, you showed up, and you even came walking to me yourself. Guess your mom cursed you, huh? Anyway, doesn't matter, you're dying today," Noelle shouts. "You want to kill me like you killed Vancia, right?" Horse is shocked, she knows. Then he remembers the little elf with Vancia. "Oh, so it's you. What a coincidence. You'll die the same way she did." Noelle attacks but gets knocked down hard. The monster goes in for the kill when Alan arrives at the last second and blocks the strike. Horse sneers. "So you finally came. I thought you were weak, but turns out you're stronger than I imagined. Who the hell are you?" Not that it matters. The real mistake was leaving the princess unguarded to come here. Cut to the princess's room. Meline, cloaked in stealth, sneaks in to kill Liz only to stab a pillow. Liz and Beatrice were waiting. Beatrice tries to strike, but Liz stops her. Meline lunges, injures Beatrice, and aims at Liz, but hesitates. Liz notices the collar on her neck and says, "You don't look like a villain at all." Beatrice then knocks Meline out. Back to Alan and Horse. Alan says, "You mean the Amazon assassin? Don't worry, her attempt failed. I spotted her from the start. In my past life, I've seen way too many tricks like that. They don't work on me anymore." Horse doesn't get what he's talking about, thinks he's bluffing. But he insists, "Doesn't matter. I'm still stronger. I got a monster here that only a holy sword can scratch." The monster charges with just one strike. The beast is slain instantly. Horse can't believe his eyes and flees. Alan takes Noelle back to Liz. They free Meline from her collar and ask her story. At first, she refuses, but later admits her entire village was burned down, her people slaughtered. She was enslaved since then, with no home left. Noelle feels for her, remembers her own past, and decides to take her in. After that, Alan leaves them, returns to the forest, points his sword at a certain spot, and unleashes a massive strike. Cut to Horse, still reeling from earlier, hiding far away when Alan's slash reaches him, destroying the whole area. What a monster move! Horse barely survives, gravely injured. But then, a demon appears and finishes him off. Alan arrives moments later, but not even the corpse is left. He realizes he was too late. Meanwhile, the demon reports to Alan's father. Horse has been silenced before spilling anything. He'll take care of the blacksmith and the saint himself, while the others handle the hero and the archbishop. Britt then tells his father he wants to be the one to kill the archbishop in the capital. "I'm not a failure like Alan. I'll get the job done." After some time, Liz hears from Noelle that in a nearby village there are rumors spreading about a strange man in silver armor wandering around. At that moment, Liz remembers her uncle, the one who saved her when she was a kid. So, she decides to take the team and head there. That village is kind of known for its weird rituals, though people don't really care much about the details. When they arrive, they ask around about her uncle, but the villagers say they haven't seen anyone. So, the group decides to search by themselves. Night falls, and they still haven't found anything. Suddenly, they run into a strange-looking villager near the graveyard. He offers to guide them to the village chief so they can spend the night there. Alan asks the man what he was doing in such a place, and the guy just says he was walking around and bumped into them by chance. Alan doubts his words, but in the end, they go with him to meet the chief. The chief gives them a room to stay the night and invites them to join the village festival the next day. That night, Liz sees her uncle outside the window. She runs after him all the way to the graveyard, where corpses suddenly rise up and grab her leg, but then she wakes up. Just a dream. The next day, the festival begins. Alan doesn't feel comfortable. He senses something strange in the place. He uses his magic eye, and then someone invites them to join the celebration. Alan and Beatrix go, while Liz stays behind. Again, Liz sees her uncle, but this time, she's awake. She runs after him and finally catches up in an empty area. She confronts him. "Where have you been all this time? After you sacrificed yourself that day, we kept searching for you but never found your body. I always believed you were alive, so why didn't you come back?" Her uncle replies, "Because I hate the royal family. The king your father wants to get rid of you, Liz. He wants to erase anyone with special talents, believing you'll destroy the world. That's why I wanted to protect you and kill him." He asks her to go with him, but she refuses. "Even if what you're saying is true, you once told me that talking to people and believing in them can solve any problem, didn't you? You're the one who needs to come back with me so we can face this together." But then he spreads his wings and says, "If that's how it is, then I'll finish you myself before he does." He charges at her, but Alan appears at the last second and blocks his attack. Liz, shocked, asks him when he got there. Alan tells her he's been watching everything from the start. He uses his spell-breaking magic, and suddenly the threads binding her uncle snap. Her uncle returns to his senses and apologizes to her. "I don't have much time left. What happened to me was because of demons, not your father. But my hatred for the royal family, that was real. You were the only one in this world who gave me peace. I truly saw you as my daughter, just like you saw me as a father." Then he turns to Alan and asks him for a duel so that he can entrust someone stronger than himself with his daughter's safety. The fight doesn't last long because her uncle is already at his limit. He dies, and Liz mourns him deeply. Afterwards, Alan stands quietly, reflecting on the village. The village chief approaches and asks, "When did you notice it?" "Since the moment I arrived, I saw that the dead live together with the living here. This place is a true embodiment of peace." The chief replies, "But what if I told you that the one who created this peace is a demon?" Alan says, "Not every demon has to be evil." But then the demon summons all the corpses under his control. Alan stares him down. "If that's the case, then every demon is evil." With one strike, he severs all the threads binding the corpses. The demon trembles in fear at Alan's power. Alan draws his sword and, with a single slash, cuts everything in front of him in half. Meanwhile, word reaches Alan's father about their failure to capture the saint. As for Alan, he notices that the stone left behind by the demon contains a fragment of his brother Bright's power. Meanwhile, in the kingdom, their plan was already in motion. They managed to get rid of the archbishop and twist him to their side. They used him to lure one of the military commanders, Edward, and the archbishop led him straight to Alan's father. The fight started, but of course the stronger one was Craig, Alan's dad. And honestly, he wasn't fighting for power, wealth, or fame, none of that. He was fighting because he lost his wife. He just wanted the whole world to lose its life the way he lost his. In the end, he actually managed to kill Edward. Meanwhile, Brett and the archbishop were gathering people, convincing them that demons exist and that they shouldn't just rely on their own powers. Demons would help them protect the world. And people, like idiots, actually believed them and even felt happy about it. But finally, Alan arrived at the scene. At the same time, Beatrix had reached the guards with Milan and started fighting the demon there until he accidentally spilled some secrets. Alan, meanwhile, was broadcasting what the demons said to the whole crowd, how they planned to wipe out the strongest first, like the archbishop, the commanders, then the hero and the saint. After that, they'll make people willingly give up their powers so demons can freely destroy the world however they want. Brett freaked out because Alan ruined everything. He used his puppet-controlling power to attack him, but Alan cut the strings holding the archbishop, the soldiers, and the commander. Brett completely lost it. All his life, Alan was the perfect one, while he was just the whiny crybaby acting like some tragic poet. The one time he finally got his moment of pride, Alan showed up to destroy it. But Alan just told him that after their mother died, he always wanted Brett to live his life freely. The only condition was, if Brett ever did something wrong, Alan himself would stop him. Brett jumped down to attack Alan, but Alan neutralized his powers and smashed him into the ground, literally. Then he left the rest to Liz while he went to face his father. At the same time, the hero had arrived and was fighting alongside Edward, who was barely breathing at this point. But Craig's power had grown insane. Edward realized it was because of the demons, and he warned Craig, if you keep using that power, you won't even be yourself anymore. If your wife were alive, she'd never want to see you like this. But Craig snapped, screaming, my wife. The whole world deserves to burn for her. Do you know why she died? Because of those cursed abilities. Her power was to be the Holy Mother, give birth to a hero, then die. She gave birth to normal kids and still died. Damn those kids. Why should she die for nothing? Why do we always lose the ones we love? He blasted the hero away and attacked Edward with everything he had. Edward was swallowed into darkness, feeling Craig's sorrow, grief, and rage for his wife. He didn't know how to deal with those mixed emotions, but he knew one thing: his friend needed him. He apologized to Craig and tried to calm him, but Craig killed him in cold blood, whispering, no one will ever understand what's in my heart. He did it all because he loved her to the point of madness. His heart belonged only to her. The hero screamed at him, he was thinking about you until his last breath. Craig just scoffed. So what? Did anyone ever think about me before? Why should I care who thinks of me now? Either way, you're about to die. He unleashed his power again, aiming at her, but Alan arrived in time to block it. Craig Lal, out of everyone, you came to stop me? A failure like you? He was stunned. Alan could even block his strike. Alan cut him off. Honestly, I wish I wasn't your son so I could stop you without guilt, but I can't just stand here and watch you destroy the people I love, and you know Mom would never want this. That drove Craig insane. His body bled, his eyes pouring blood too as he screamed, don't you dare say her name. He blasted a massive attack. Alan was dragged into his father's emotions, drowning in Craig's grief and love for his mother. Alan finally understood why his father did all this because of her. It was exactly what Alan always avoided facing, pretending he'd be fine if he ignored it. But now he realized if he had acted earlier, maybe none of this would have happened. This time, though, he refused to give up. He had people he loved and people who loved him. He'd save them no matter what. He charged at Craig and, after an intense fight, finally killed him. In his last moment, Craig realized Alan truly was a hero. But for him, the only thing that mattered was that he'd finally get to see his beloved wife again in the afterlife. And just like that, evil was defeated. Alan was offered a huge reward by the king. He even became head of the Whitlift family, but Alan refused the title and passed it to Liz because he wanted to stay free. Then he met up with Melaine and Noelle to return to the city. Liz decided to go with them too, since she was now part of the Whitlift family. As for Beatrix, she couldn't join them. Being a direct guard of the royal family meant she had to stay. Alan has this weird dream he's injured, bleeding out, about to die. A girl's holding him, crying hard, thanking him, and asking what he truly wishes for. He jolts awake, swearing at how strange that dream was. He heads to the kitchen for food and finds Liz already there. She tells him, since you're up, sit down and eat with me. Alan asks about Noelle and Melaine, and Liz says they're still asleep. But right on cue, they walk in through the door. They all sit to eat together. Noelle tells Alan to hurry up because as soon as they're done, she wants to test out the new sword she made. Then Liz reminds him, didn't you say you'd help me with the paperwork for my family stuff? Alan, half dead from exhaustion, mutters, wait, I said that? After they finish eating, a guild member rushes in, carrying a pile of papers. She tells Alan to come quickly. Tons of people want to face him, and there are monsters only he can defeat. Everyone's basically fighting over him. In the end, Alan solves all their problems and finally gets a chance to rest. Later, he tells Liz he's heading to the Empire. Noel and Melaine insist on joining him, and after nagging him nonstop, he gives in. Liz, however, says she's too busy with paperwork to come along. When the time comes to travel, Alan sets out with the group, but even the princess tags along, leaving her paperwork in the hands of her red-haired aide. On the road, they're ambushed by sand wolves. Without hesitation, Alan draws his sword and slaughters them all in less than a second. The group just continues like nothing happened. Eventually, they reach a bustling city in the Empire. Alan feels something's off, but before he can think too hard, he bumps into a girl, Henriette, daughter of a marquis. When she spots Liz, she scolds her. "What are you doing here? The Empire is on the brink of war. Everyone's ready to tear each other apart. You'd be better off going home." Alan shrugs and says, "Looks normal to me." Henriette replies, "And what if I told you the Black Wolf Knights have started moving?" The princess asks who they are, and Henriette explains, "The most terrifying knights in the city. You'd better watch out." Then she walks away, leaving them behind. Alan chases after her, telling the others to look around without him. He catches up and asks, "When you warned me, was that Henriette speaking, or my partner from our past life?" Henriette coolly answers, "All that matters here is Henriette. If you want peace, go back home right now." Alan smirks, "Fine, whatever," and walks away. As he searches for Liz, an explosion rocks the city. He rushes toward it and finds a man fleeing from knights. The man suddenly attacks Alan, but Alan quickly pins him to the ground. Then, out of nowhere, a strange magic triggers and the man dies instantly. A knightess arrives and demands an explanation. Alan says he only defended himself and didn't kill the guy. She replies, "Your words don't match the evidence. How did you kill him so brutally without even using your gift?" Alan shoots back, "How do you know I didn't use my gift?" She answers that her unique ability lets her sense who uses their powers and who doesn't, but it doesn't work on demons. That makes her suspect Alan is one, and she orders his arrest. Before they can grab him, Alan vanishes into the ground. Malene was the one who saved him. He reunites with Henriette, the princess, and Noelle waiting below. Alan asks how they knew he was in trouble. The princess explains that Henriette found them and told them Malene was the only one who could help. Alan realizes that's because Malene is a demon, and the knightess wouldn't be able to detect her gift. Alan tells them they need to get out of the city immediately and head home. But Henriette says it's too late. All the routes out have been sealed by the knightess. Alan sighs and says, "Well, I'm sure Henriette has a plan." She glares at him. "You really have no shame, do you? But yeah, I've got something. It's not perfect, but it's a start." She brings them to her estate and explains the whole mess. The emperor has been assassinated. No war with other nations was started yet because the empire is already drowning in internal chaos. Later that night, Alan stands on the balcony, lost in thought. Henriette joins him. Alan asks, "The emperor was killed by a demon, wasn't he?" She admits, "Most likely. The only one who could do it is either you or a demon." "So how long have you been watching me? You didn't just run into me by accident when I came here, right?" Henriette smirks and plays dumb. "Pure coincidence." Then she leaves him and goes back to her room. The next day, Noel was sitting around bored, wanting to go out to town, wander around, visit the blacksmiths, and check out the swords. But Henriette told her she couldn't leave because of the Black Wolf Knights. Alan butts in. "Wait, aren't they only looking for me?" She nods and he goes, "Then Noel can go to town without any problems. Nothing's gonna happen to her." Henriette sighs, and after Noel starts mumbling and daydreaming about crafting hidden swords, she finally says, "Fine, you can go." Noel gets super excited and runs off to town with Mylene. The two of them wander around, checking the smith's shops, holding up swords, grabbing some food. But while they're walking, Noel notices all the women staring at her strangely. She starts imagining everyone's fascinated by her beauty. Some people approach, looking like they're about to ask her something, but Malene quickly pulls her away and drags her back to the castle. Back at the castle, Noel tells Henriette, the princess, and Alan what happened, that people kept staring at her weirdly in town, and she doesn't get why. Henriette looks at her seriously and says, "Of course they'd look at you strangely." Noel frowns. "Huh? What do you mean?" Henriette leans in. "Do you really want to know more about yourself?" Noelle admits she doesn't even remember much of her past. Henriette then leads them all to a section of the castle, performs a spell, and suddenly they're standing in the elven forest. She explains she has permission to enter, but anyone else who comes here will forget everything once they leave, including how they even entered. They walk through the forest, and Noel starts feeling uneasy, like there's something strangely familiar. Suddenly, a whole crowd of elves approaches. Everyone's shocked when the elves kneel before Noel, greeting her, "Welcome back, Queen of the Elves." Noel freezes, "Q Queen!" Alan smirks, "So you're the one with the fairy monarch eyes." Noel stares at him, confused, and Alan reminds her about that crazy guy who once tried to kill her, calling her the one with the fairy monarch eyes. Henriette confirms it. Noel has those eyes, the mark of elven royalty. She's the last surviving elf queen. An elf named Parisfal steps forward, introduces himself as the royal guardian, and welcomes her back. He shows them around the forest and their homes. The princess notices human furniture lying around and asks why. Parisfal admits Henrietta brought them. Henriette snaps at him to shut up. Then, two demon children approach and give Noel a gift. Parisfal politely shoos them away, saying the queen's busy. Another demon kid, Philip, steps out, saying it's unfair he can't talk to her too. Parisfal scolds him harshly, making him leave crying. Noel watches, unsettled, but doesn't ask. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the knight who wants Alan captured Lisette meets a man named Oswald. They're searching for the path to the elven forest. Lisette warns him not to cause chaos. Oswald laughs. "Relax, I've got everything under control." He leaves her behind. Back with Alan, Parisfal sits with him. He explains that elves can't grow or thrive without their queen. Without her, they can't even reproduce, meaning extinction. Alan asks about the human furniture. Parisfal admits Henriette always helped them. Alan then asks about the demon kids. Parisfal says Henriette brought them one day, asking the elves to shelter them. At first, everyone refused, but she convinced them if they learned to coexist with another race, maybe one day they could survive even without a queen. Over time, the elves gradually accepted the kids. Later, Alan sits with Noelle, the princess, Henriette, and Mylene. Noelle still can't believe she's queen. The others eventually leave her alone to think. She wonders aloud, "Vanessa's wish was to forge a legendary sword and I made that happen. But what's my dream now? Why am I even traveling with Alan and the princess?" She wanders outside, gazing at the sky. Alan watches her silently from his window until Henriette enters his room. He asks about the demon children. Henrietta explains, demons are usually born when hatred consumes someone. But children born from demon parents never choose to be demons, they're abandoned. The kids here, she found them right before they were going to be killed and brought them to the forest. The next day, Parisfal continues the tour. Some demon children approach Noelle again, this time offering her a soul stone, a rare gem used in alchemy. Suddenly, Philip storms in, snatches the stone, and smashes it on the ground, yelling, "Stay away from our queen, demons!" Parisfal yells at him, and Philip runs away in tears. Henriette leaves the group, follows Philip, and gently talks to him. "Did the demons ever hurt you?" He shakes his head. "Then why treat them this way?" He has no answer. She sighs. "Just don't disappear. Come back soon before anyone worries." She leaves him there. But Philip makes a decision to go back and apologize. Before he can, Oswald shows up, grabs him, and ties him up. "You're gonna show me the way to the elven forest." At Alan's place, they're all sitting and eating, but Noel isn't touching her food. She looks upset and lost in thought. Henriette notices and tells Alan, "She looks like she doesn't know what to do." Alan replies, "Yeah, they asked her to be the queen. That's not a small thing. She needs time to think and decide for herself." Meanwhile, Noel is actually just daydreaming about food, craving meat. They finish eating, and Henriette says she'll step out of the forest for a bit to look for the boy, then leaves. Alan asks Parsifal who she meant. Parsifal tells him one of the elves left the forest and hasn't come back yet. It's Philip. Some time passes, and Alan tells Parsifal the elves are super lazy, doing nothing. Parsifal agrees. That's true. We sleep for very long periods. That's why we're lazy and don't care much about work, Alan says. So Noel is weird because she's into blacksmithing even though she's an elf. Noel snaps at him, "Shut up before I smash you!" And Alan just shuts up. Then Alan asks Parsifal how they get food. Parsifal explains, "Food isn't a problem for us. This is the Elven Forest. We're connected to it. Whatever we wish for, the forest provides." To prove it, Parsifal wishes for an apple, and one drops right into his hand from a tree. He gives it to them, and everyone is amazed. Alan then says he wants to live in the forest. Parsifal answers, "To live here, you need to be one of us, and you're not." Alan asks, "Then how do the demon kids live here?" Parsifal explains they're not here forever. Henriette brought them to stay for a short while, then they'll leave. Alan says, "All right, then I want to stay here short-term too," Parsifal replies, "Fine, no problem." But when Alan asks how long short-term is for them, Parsifal casually says, "About 100 years or more." Alan isn't even shocked since elves live for thousands of years anyway. Then Parsifal asks Noelle what she thinks about the forest. Will she accept becoming their ruler or not? Noelle says she hasn't decided yet. But then the forest itself speaks to Parsifal, telling him that a stranger has entered. He excuses himself. "Someone entered the forest, I'll go greet him," and leaves. Meanwhile, Alan and the others go back to their spot playing games. The princess asks Alan if he was serious about living here. He says, yeah, he really meant it, that he feels the place suits him, and Henriette is here to support him if needed. Noel adds she'll also stay to figure out whether she'll really be their ruler or not, and Mylene says she'll stay with her. Unfortunately, the princess says she can't stay, she'll have to leave later. We cut to Henriette back at her castle with a guest, Lisette, leader of the Black Wolf Knights. Lisette tells her there was an incident recently and the only suspect, Alan, has gone missing. They believe Henriette is hiding him. The knights barge in, searching the whole castle. Henriette scoffs. "What, you think if I was hiding him, I'd leave evidence of where he is, you idiot?" Lisette replies, "Maybe not here, but maybe in the Elven Forest." Back in the forest, Oswald has entered using Philip. Parsifal greets him and realizes Philip was tricked. Parsifal asks why he's here. Oswald says he came to catch a criminal hiding in the forest. Parsifal tries to brush it off, saying, "No one's here." But just then, the demon kids show up with fruit for Parsifal. Parsifal hurriedly tries to send them away, but Oswald pushes him aside. So, not only hiding a criminal, but demons too? He uses his magic to kill them, creating a huge explosion. Noelle and Alan hear the blast. Noelle says, "The forest and the elves are in danger, we have to help now," and they rush to the scene. Parsifal had managed to shield himself and the kids with magic, telling Oswald, "I won't let you harm them." But Oswald attacks him from behind, knocking him down. He pulls out his sword to kill the kids, but Philip steps in front of them, trying to protect them. Oswald yells at him to move, but Philip refuses. Just before Oswald strikes, Noel shows up behind him, smashes him on the head with her hammer and shouts, "Stay away from them!" Oswald then attacks Noel with his magic, but Mylene grabs her and helps her escape. Parsifal stands back up, draws his sword, and charges at Oswald. But Oswald counters and knocks him down again, about to finish him off. That's when Alan arrives, saves Parsifal, and faces Oswald directly. Oswald tries to cast his magic, but Alan can actually see his spells and cuts them apart before they activate. Alan defeats him and knocks him out cold. Parsifal thanks Alan for saving them. Alan says it's no problem. Henriette arrives and snaps, "What the hell did you do now? Every time you cause problems." But Parsifal defends him. "No, there wasn't a problem. Alan saved us." Henriette sighs. "Fine, I'll cover this up." She then tells Alan the borders have been opened so they can return home now. Alan suspects something, but stays silent. Before leaving, Parsifal asks Noel if she's really going. She says yes. "I'll go with them. I'm not ready to be your queen yet. I have no experience. But maybe traveling with them will make me a better queen someday." Parsifal tells her they'll always wait for her, and they say their goodbyes. They leave the Elven Forest and start getting their cart ready to head back to their country. But suddenly, a strange guy shows up, and begs them, "Please, I'm begging you, save my big sister." They ask for his name and what he means, and he says his name is Cardus, and he's asking them to save his sister, Henriette. Everyone gets shocked. They head to a tavern to talk it out, and Cardus explains that Henriette has been arrested by the Black Wolf Knights on charges of assassinating the Emperor. They all say, "No way Henriette would do that." Cardus agrees. "Exactly. Even if you bring evidence, it won't matter. They'll just cover it up. Besides, most nobles hate her because she's too smart and wasn't afraid to reject some laws they tried to force through. Please, save my sister." But the princess is suspicious. She remembers Henriette once told them she was the only one in her family, no siblings at all. Later that night, Alan's deep in thought. The princess, Noel, and Malene remind him the story is weird since Henriette has no siblings. Alan says, "Yeah, true, but still, the moment we were about to leave, he asked us to save his sister. That's not something I can refuse. And besides, I've already confirmed Henriette really was arrested. But how did this guy know we were her friends?" We cut to Henriette, who's in custody, sitting in a carriage. Lisette is there with her. Henriette sighs. "I mean, yeah, I'm your prisoner, but at least treat me better. It's not like I'm gonna run." Lisette replies, "I know you won't, but you should also know, if a prisoner escapes, I'll lose my head. And honestly, I'd rather stay alive." Henriette smirks. "Fine. At least you kept your word you didn't touch them. As long as Alan and the others are safe, I'll stay put. But if anything happens to them, I swear I'll kill you." Back to Alan and the group. They decide to go with Cardus to the capital to rescue Henriette. He introduces them to a knight, saying he's trustworthy. As they ride in the cart, Alan presses him. "How did you know we were friends with Henriette? And why call her your sister when she's not?" Cardus admits, "She's not my sister, she's my cousin. She was the only one who helped me when I was a kid. She always supported me and treated me kindly. I knew you were her friends because once she met you, I started watching from a distance. That's how I figured you'd help her." Meanwhile, Henriette dozes in her carriage, then asks Lisette about the man who entered the elven forest. Lisette refuses. That's classified. Henriette pushes, "Classified my ass. Just tell me." Lisette finally answers, "He got a pardon because you confessed to assassinating the Emperor. And anyway, you've got too many enemies." Sooner or later, something like this was bound to happen. Henriette just shrugs. "I don't care. As long as Alan's safe, I don't need anything else." Back to Alan, standing at the capital gates. They're shut tight for some unknown reason. He and the princess decide to check the Adventurers Guild for info, while Noel and Malene head to an inn since their rare races would draw suspicion if they asked around. At the guild, Alan and the princess dig for news. They overhear that the Black Wolf Knights are looking for a group of 6 people, which is obviously them. Suddenly, a knight from the Black Wolves walks in asking about a group of 6 that arrived recently, offering a reward for info. Alan and the princess bolt. The knight spots them and gives chase, but she bumps into a kid on the street, stops to help him, and loses them. Alan and the princess escape back to the inn, only to find Oswald waiting. He's holding Noel and Mylene hostage, the place already blown to pieces. He glares at Alan and says, "I'm gonna settle the score for what you did to me in the Elven Forest." Alan stands his ground, not even flinching. Oswald sneers, "So they're not that important to you? Fine then. I guess you won't mind if I kill them." But Alan moves faster than lightning and slices off his hand. Oswald laughs bitterly. "I knew it. There's no way I can beat you. You're a monster. That's why I planted my magic inside everyone around us. I'll blow them all up, your friends and everyone else." Alan freezes. Memories of his past life come rushing back when demons attacked a city and burned it to the ground. He sees again that small child crying for help, a demon about to kill him. Alan had rushed in back then, slaughtering every demon and saving the boy. He told the kid, "Don't worry, I'm here." But the boy recoiled in terror, screaming, "Stay away from me, monster!" Back in the present, Alan mutters to himself, "I'm not a hero anymore. I don't have to save everyone." Oswald triggers his spell, but Alan just can't stand still. He unleashes his power, shatters all the magic, and saves every single person. Alan's about to finish Oswald off when suddenly a knight from the Black Wolves shows up, a woman named Syl, the vice commander. She stops him. "Don't kill him. I'll handle his punishment myself. I promise." Alan lowers his blade. "Fine," and walks away. Later, Alan and the princess regroup. Noelle and Malene are healing from their injuries. The princess reassures him. "They'll be fine. Don't worry. And the capital gates have opened again. We can move forward and save Henriette." Meanwhile, Syl reports to Lisette about what happened. She demands Oswald be punished. Lisette replies, "Our leader will take care of it." Suddenly, a strange black creature appears. Oswald panics. "That's not my familiar!" The beast devours him in an instant. Back to Alan's group, they're at the gates, watching. To enter the capital, they'll need travel permits. They brainstorm until Cardis says, "There are secret tunnels under the city built for emergencies. It's dangerous, but it's our best option." They sneak into the tunnels. Patrols pass by, but Malene cloaks them with her power. Then Lisette herself shows up. She knows they're here. She challenges Alan directly. He tells the others, Princess Noelle, Malene to go ahead and meet Cardis while he stays to fight. The duel begins. Lisette moves insanely fast, but none of her strikes land. Deep inside, she remembers her deal with Henriette. She can't bring herself to go all out against Alan. As the fight rages, the tunnel begins to collapse, threatening to bury them both alive. Meanwhile, the princess, Cardis, Noelle, and Malene see the tunnels caving in. Cardis smirks in a sly way, but suddenly, Alan appears behind them, safe and sound. They all breathe in relief. Alan asks Cardis if he's got a plan to rescue Henriette. Cardis admits he doesn't, not yet. "Tomorrow we'll figure something out. For now, we should rest." Alan nods, but slips away on a small errand. He sneaks to where Henriette is imprisoned. He finds her sitting calmly, reading a book. "Good choice of book," he says casually. Henriette jumps. "What the hell are you doing here? You didn't come to rescue me, did you?" Alan grins. "Of course I did." Henriette sighs. "Don't worry about me. I'm a noble. They won't execute me. Worst case, they strip my title and exile me. So just go back to your country and don't come here again." Alan asks, "You sure about that?" She insists, "Yes, leave." So Alan quietly walks away. The next day, Alan sits with the princess, Noelle, Malene, and Cardis. Cardis tells them, "If you rescue Henriette, the Empire will suspect your kingdom. That could spark a war, and none of us want that. So please, go back to your country. I swear to you, I'll save her." Time passes, and one day we find Cardis standing in front of Henriette in her cell. She stares at him and asks, "What are you doing here? Who do you even work for?" He smirks, eyes full of arrogance. "I don't work for anyone. Everything I did for myself." Then he raises his hand, summoning a dark aura, the mark of the Black Wolf Knights, the strongest military unit in the Empire, who've always served the Emperor directly. Henriette's eyes widen in shock. "No way. That power only belongs to the Emperor's direct servants. Don't tell me you killed them all and stole it?" Cardis laughs, a twisted, devilish laugh. "Kill them? Nah, I just threatened them. And those cowards? They handed me their power and ran off to save their own skins. I'm doing all this to take what's rightfully mine to become the true emperor. But there's just one problem. I can never claim the throne without you. Since I'm from a branch family, the only way to gain legitimacy is to marry you. Then I'll be part of the main bloodline and everyone will bow to me." Henriette glares at him, her face full of disgust and anger. "You'll never be emperor, even if you marry me. A man with no heart, no conscience, who builds his crown on betrayal and threats his end is already written." Cardis narrows his eyes, leans closer. "Remember my words. Soon you'll be standing beside me, whether you like it or not." He leaves, full of confidence. Henriette lays her head on the pillow, tears filling her eyes, not weakness, but grief and fear for the Empire that would fall into his hands if no one stopped him. Alone in her cell, she remembers her moments with Alan, how he stood tall in front of everyone, even when they saw him as weak, how he had the courage to say, "I'll walk my own path." Her tears shift into a small smile as she whispers, "Alan, I believe you're coming." Cut to Alan with Lizette. She tries to convince him to rescue Henriette, but he refuses. Henriette doesn't want anyone to save her. If she did, she would have said so herself. Lizette insists, "I know it's selfish, but we can't just stand by." Then another ally arrives, urging, "If you want to save her, you need to act now." Back at Henriette's cell, Curtis shows up again. For the millionth time, she refuses to side with him. He unleashes his demonic power, choking her with shadowy hands. "If you won't be mine willingly, then I'll kill you and drag you with me anyway." At that exact moment, Alan bursts in, slashing away the shadowy hands. Curtis growls, "Die already, you're annoying the hell out of me." Then Alan learns the truth. The traitor was Celia. Curtis snarls, "Traitor." But Celia scoffs, "Since when did I ever work with you? You exploit people and use them like tools. Did you really think I'd side with you?" "No, darling, I brought the one who'll finally get rid of you." Alan interrupts, bored. "Can we skip the side drama already? I've got girls waiting for me." Curtis loses it, screaming, "You're mocking me!" He hurls demonic energy at both Alan and Celia, but Alan dodges and counters with a strike that nearly burns through the demon magic itself. The truth comes out, Curtis had made a pact with a demon to gain enough power to rule the Empire and force Henriette to love him. Curtis unleashes his full demonic form, snatching Henriette from Alan. His attacks rain down on them, too much for Alan and Celia to block. But just then, Lizette arrives, cutting through his magic and pulling Henriette to safety. That's when Alan goes all in, unleashes his full power, and finally finishes Curtis once and for all. Henriette and the Empire are saved. And that's it. My dear viewer, they all live happily ever after. Alan stays with our crew, and that's the end of today's anime. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to smash that like button, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment telling us which part you like the most and what anime you want us to cover next. Peace out, see you in the next video.